Thank you so much for joining me. Urmi is a phenomenal young woman. She is in finance. She's a blogger, has written many articles, self-published, multilingual, and she has an incredible story to share with us today. Here is Urmi.
Yes, I am Urmi. I'm based in Montreal. I am Italian by birth and Bengali by blood. I was born and raised in Italy. I grew up in a South Asian household. Both of my parents are from Bangladesh. And then I moved in Canada a couple of years ago. I pursued my bachelor degree. I did my university and then I started to work, and I've been in the financial sector, like you mentioned. In the beginning, I always had a little bit of struggle in finding my cultural identity. It was always a struggle identifying myself as Italian as well as Bengali, because I never felt like I was either one completely. I was very much aware that I was an Italian. I was very much aware that I didn't feel fully Bengali either. It was a struggle that I carried for many years until a couple of years ago, where I finally came to basically identify myself as Italian Bengali.
Yes. I feel like as we get older, there's more confidence, there's more life experiences. We just learn to embrace.
Definitely, I would say that coming to Canada gave me a different perspective. And I think it came from the fact that all the people that I had around me were coming from a different background. Back in Italy, for instance, I only had Italian friends. But here in Canada, I have people from different backgrounds. Like I have people from Vietnam, I have people from China, I have people from Mexico, I have people from Greece. And I feel like being around them helped me to basically find an identity myself, because a lot of my friends, they also feel like they're third culture kids, which is what I also feel I belong. That's a group of people that I belong to. And definitely, like, I got the support that I wanted, because I also feel like we all went through the same struggle. Like, I have a very close friend who also feels like she struggles with her identity because she grew up in different places, she lived in different places, her parents come from a different background. So there was a struggle, and the fact that I had her near me has helped me to find myself.
Very good. And speaking of, you're involved with a few groups.
Yes, definitely. So Toastmasters is actually a non-public speaking club, which is known worldwide. It was created in 1924 by Ross Nedley. And basically, this organization was created for the intent of improving your public speaking skills. And basically, afterwards, it has spread all around the world. And then each country has a public speaking club. In every single city, in every single area within the city, there are clubs. And basically, what I do is I go and practice my public speaking skills. And I was very much inspired by another woman who was doing public speaking, and that was Meghan Markle. I used to watch a lot of her speeches and presentation, and I felt very much inspired to do the same. So that's how I was like, you know what? I want to also like work on my public speaking skills. And so I joined Toastmasters. I've been part of this club for 5 years. I've been taking also different leadership roles, such as the president and the VP of education.
Right.
And it's a great experience because not only you learn about public speaking, but you also learn about leadership. I am also part of an organization called Women in Leadership, which is an organization strictly based in Canada. And we have 7 chapters all across Canada. So we have a chapter in Montreal, one in Toronto, one in Ottawa, Victoria. And although I live in Montreal, I volunteer for the one in Victoria. And I volunteer as a social media lead. So basically what we do is we promote all the webinars, all the workshops that the chapter offers. And we also have like leadership development program for the women in the community to develop themselves. And we also have a mentorship program as well. So basically the women that are part of our community, we match them up with other women who have been there in the industry for longer, or people from who share the same interests, so that we can basically guide to find confidence, to increase their sense of worth.
That is so cool that Meghan Markle was your inspiration. Her speeches are phenomenal. And I loved watching her in Suits. My best friend and I, 10 plus years ago, when it first came out. So every week I would go over to my girlfriend's house and we would watch Suits. Even as a young girl, she had the gumption to send that letter.
Company where they were saying how women supposed to be in the kitchen to put the letter, and the letter reached out to the, I don't know, I think the commercial company or whatever. And basically, they changed the ad. So it was incredible. Since from like a young age, she was already making a big, yes, I know.
Yeah, incredible. It reminds me of you in a sense. I've looked at your blog. You're in several websites and blogs, and we have these organizations that you're sharing with us where we can go get out there and find others who have a voice and practice with one another and life.
And I think it also, like Meghan Markle said in her speech, we have to help the women to give the voice to the voiceless. That's what she talks about.
Yes. Yeah, I was such a fan girl of Suits. As I was looking into all of your blogs, could you describe some of the stepping stones that you took?
Yeah, definitely. So in a lot of the blogs I've been, it really depends. Some of them I actually get reached out by people to write for them, to be featured on their website. And for others, it's me reaching out because I want to use their platforms as a way to raise awareness of things. So in a lot of them, I talk about like things that happen in the world, like child marriages. I talk about career. I talk about networking. I touch on different things, but I do reach out to some of them because I think I can use their platforms to amplify my message and to reach different people. And there are different sources that you can use, like looking up on a website, like on Instagram, there are a lot of magazine accounts that you can reach out. And then for others, you just get people to reach out to you and they ask to write an article. So there are different ways that you can do it. But I would say that the very first step is getting out of that comfort zone because,
yes,
like you mentioned, a lot of women, a lot of us are not comfortable. It's getting into that stepping zone or taking that first step. It's always very hard, but you have to really make an effort because otherwise there won't be any growth. So the only way that you can grow is going out of that comfort zone.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. It was the other night, some of us were going out to play some tennis, and there was a new guy who came out on the courts, and tennis is a very communal sport. I was like, hey, do you want to play with us? And come to find out, it was his very first time. And I was just like, you know what? Everybody has a very first time, right? Whether it's a podcast, writing a blog, giving a speech, and it's not going to be the best, but you have to just go through it.
The very first time, scary, but afterwards, it gives you like a boost of confidence because that's how I felt when I first did my first YouTube interview with a friend. I was super nervous. I was super worried. I was like, I don't know if I want to do this. But then afterwards, I realized how much I actually enjoyed the conversation, how much I enjoyed doing this. And I was like, you know what? I want to have my own YouTube channel too. So it just opens like other opportunities when you try new things. It's this whole concept of diversification. Like we also have it in finance, basically. Like don't put all your eggs in one basket. It's a concept in finance. So I do say it's the same thing when it comes to skills. I would say that definitely for anyone out there, just don't stick to one skill only. Don't think that, oh, I don't need any other skills because if, let's say, you lose your job and that requires another kind of skills, then you are pretty much screwed. So you want to diversify your skills. You want to learn as much as you can. And you want to learn things that you do not know because I can give you a good example. For instance, I have a YouTube channel and I don't like doing editing. I actually don't because I do think it does take a lot of my time. But then I downloaded the software and I started to edit and I realized how much I actually enjoying this. And what I'm seeing is, yes, editing can be painful, but it's a learning opportunity. So you have to also shift your mindset when it comes to learning new things. You have to be open to learning new skills. You have to be open to diversify your skills. And you also want to be able to match what the market is offering, like what's needed in the market. Like now, when we think about artificial intelligence, a lot of jobs probably will go away because we new jobs created that were required to certain skills. So you want to be ready with that too. So it's also about matching the current environment, adapting to the change, because that's the only way that you can keep going forward. Because if you're just stuck in like one thing, then you're not moving anywhere. Right. And so that's my advice.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And then the other thing that I find amazing is that we love to travel. You travel quite a bit. And I feel like this also a different perspective. You can lose your job, you're stuck in, the same environment, and you're just like tunnel vision. But can you explain how travel inspires you?
Yeah, I do love traveling, and I do want to travel to a lot of exotic and foreign places to me. Really, traveling just opens up your mind, your horizon, and you get to meet like different people from different cultures. You get to experience their lifestyle, their way of doing things, their culture, tradition, food, the way they speak. And I'm a big like language learner. So for me, like when I'm traveling, I always attempt to speak the language of the locals if I know their language. Because I like that kind of connection. And traveling, I do it, of course, to disconnect, but I do see traveling also as a learning opportunity because I get to learn also from the people.
You speak quite a few different languages. Yes. What all are the different languages that you speak?
So I speak Italian, I speak Bengali, I speak English, I speak French, and I speak a little bit of Spanish.
Wow.
Yes.
How cool is that? Yeah, I know the French, they really appreciate when you go and visit their country that you do at least try to speak it. Spanish in high school is the only foreign language I was learning. And then my first opportunity to go to another country was France. I barely know a lick of French. Anyway, again, get out of comfort zone, right?
I went to Mexico a couple of years ago. And although I stayed in a resort, I also went out and I went to the Mayan villages. And that was, I think, my highlight of the trip. Like I saw how people live there. I saw that people who live in these villages, they actually look different than the other Mexicans. So it was very interesting to see that. It was also interesting to see what they eat. So it was a very nice experience because I feel like I would have not had that chance if I did not travel. And so traveling really does opens you to think differently, to also be grateful of the life that you have, I would say. Even when you travel to countries that are developing or countries that are like poorer, you are grateful of the life that you have because not everyone can say that they're lucky with their conditions. And I do speak about this from the perspective of, because my parents are from Bangladesh. I went to Bangladesh. I know how it is to live there. And so it makes you grateful of what you have and basically not regret like missing anything. Like it makes you grateful of the basic things that you have, like the fact that you have a shelter, you have a food, you have clothes. Because on this side of the world, we live in a very materialistic society where it's like the more the better. But there is a lot more than just material stuff. So,
right. So you mentioned you like to travel to disconnect. What are some of your hobbies?
So in my free time, I like to work out a lot, but it's not any kind of workouts. Those are the two things that I love very much. I do think it's important to do self-defense courses as a woman, first of all. And unfortunately, even when I go to these classes, I don't see that many women, and I try to lead by example. Basically, I go to these classes because I love it, but also because I want to lead by example for other women that boxing and Muay Thai not just for men, it's also for women. And so I encourage other women. It's nice to see other women when they are there also doing this kind of thing. So I do very much enjoy Muay Thai and boxing. I do think it's a great way to disconnect, but at the same time, you're also becoming stronger. You're learning a little bit about the techniques of self-defense because you never know. And another thing that I also very much enjoy is, of course, reading. I'm a big reader. I love reading a lot of self-development books, and I also read all fictions. And I also very much enjoy watching Korean K-dramas. I don't know if you're like, it's a big thing now. If I watch even those, they're so addicting. And sometimes I don't want to watch them, but you know what? They do such a good job with their storylines that you just want to watch them. And I also like to try different pasta recipes. I like to make them on my own. And that's where my Italian side comes in. Like making pasta is one thing that I very much enjoy cooking.
Did I see somewhere in your works that is your inspiration, your aspiration to do a TED Talk?
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that? And are you working towards it?
Yeah, it came. So my whole objective of TED Talk, it came because I watch a lot of TED Talks.
Yeah.
So like I watch a lot of TED Talks, and I think I was very much inspired by whatever I listen. And I was like, you know what? I also want to give a TED Talk. And it's been my long-term plan. Like it's there and I've been saying it, manifesting it. So one day it's going to happen. My long-term goal is to deliver a TED Talk. This is why I am part of Toastmasters. I'm working on my public speaking skills. So I am confident and comfortable enough to speak on a very big audience, basically. Yeah.
Right. I saw recently that it's really relationships actually that make the world go round. I've been posting on LinkedIn quite a bit, and this was from a young girl who went to Harvard. He's like, these young people, they are really speaking truths. I'm like, y'all have so much wisdom in this new era. It's phenomenal seeing how times have really changed. Have you noticed that as the years have gone by, there seems to be quite a pivot in our young people?
Yes. Yes, I do think there has been, like, if we talk about, I'm assuming, like, in terms of the women's empowerment type of thing, I do think that there's been a shift. And I think it's because social media is also helping that. Like, as much as social media can be bad, it can also be good if you use the platforms that you have in the good way. If you follow the right people, if you share the right content. And I do think a lot of these women, they have been taking control of their lives by being out there. So there are like a lot of influencers. Yes, of course, they are promoting right products and services and whatsoever, but they also promote like good messages as well. There is a woman in particular that I follow. She also talks about periods, like menstruation, that a lot of people in India, like the issue that a lot of women in India, they don't have hygiene, they don't have pads. So she tries to raise awareness of that. So I think that's a good way to bring awareness of things. And I do think that a lot of women are trying to also empower themselves by being part of communities, because out there on social media, there's so many groups that you can join. And a lot of them is about being part of a community, like being part of a community of sisterhood where you help each other, where you empower each other, where you uplift each other. And I think this organization are doing a great job because they have Instagram lives and they are always like raising awareness about issues, like social issues out there. So in that sense, I think they're doing a great job because I think they're spreading the message a lot among like a lot of women. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, for sharing that. That reminds me, my same bestie that I used to watch Suits with, she was just telling me how it seems like the guys, they really have that down, the men, with their networks and their, anyway, what we call good old boys club. Like a lot of men work with men that they either know directly or, indirectly. Right back to all its relationships that make the world go round. But she said, and she's well into her 60s, and she was like, but with the women, anyway, not so much. But her perspective was just not so much. And I was like, yes, man, we need to change that.
Yeah.
Right. And here we have somebody like you who is, I feel like you have your hands in a lot of different pots and you're just sharing all of these amazing knowledge.
Actually.
I've seen a lot about you mentioning this matter of resilience. And I was just like, man, I was just like going to therapy, reading one of your blogs. You just emphasize this matter of resilience and being able to get through those tough moments, having the emotional intelligence. We just learn how to get up and brush off our knees.
Yes.
How do you do that?
How do you do that? It's a thing that I had to learn the hard way.
Yeah.
You learn the best lesson like the hard way. And yes, it occurred to me in different instances, whether it was work, whether it was like personal stuff, where it's easy to fall, but I think the ability to stand up and go forward and just to let go of the past, because the past is past. There is no way you can go back. All you can do is really be fully present and be able to build a better future. And that's how I see it. I think it's very normal as people to feel negative and to complain about a lot of the things whenever you are unsuccessful at reaching something. But I think what makes you a better person is if you're able to let it go, to learn from the mistake and make sure that you don't repeat it. And it takes a lot of courage. I know it's not easy. So you also really give grace to yourself. At the end, you're human, you're not a machine, and you're not perfect. We are bound to make errors, but through the errors that we learn. And we hope for the best.
Yes. Unfortunately, we do learn more from our mistakes and failures But that's life. And I think at the end of the day, we need that. I really do appreciate your time. Thank you everyone for joining us.